While it is nice that we get to drive some really powerful EVs and hybrids lately, sometimes you kind of want to go back to the classics. Something with a throaty engine and a nicely sorted chassis and rear-wheel drive. And that's exactly what we're gonna give you with the Lexus IS 350 F Sport. Yeah. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya.com, and what I've got for you today is the new-ish Lexus IS 350 F Sport. Yes, it's been one of our favorite vehicles for the last 11 years, and now we have the latest version. Now, truth be told, the IS 350 and the entire IS generation has been the same since 2013, but Lexus has been tweaking it, well, you can see it, with the way they did the redesign of the vehicle. They changed out the front, they changed out the rear, but a lot of the qualities of the vehicle are still very much the same. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because this is one of those really fun driver's cars with a 3.5-liter V6 underhood, premium interior, and so much more. You know what? Let's just get to driving it, because I can't wait to get behind the wheel of this thing again. It feels kind of strange to say this, but the IS is one of those legacy Lexus models. In the late 90s, I remember it was based on the Toyota Altezza. You know that one, like the one with the Beams engine. Everybody wanted that vehicle back then, and it also pioneered the idea of the Lexus or the Altezza taillights. You know, the one with the round thing at the end, similar to the GTR, but only one piece, or I think one piece, and then there's a smaller one right next to it. But anyways, this one is something we've always enjoyed, the IS, and especially since they launched this generation in 2013. Yes, when you think about it, this generation of IS has been around for 11 years already, maybe a little bit more in some other markets. And that says a lot. The first is that they really refined it to be better, and you can feel how the vehicle drives. It's very composed, it's very quiet, typical Lexus. There's not much in the way of loud noises, like for example, horns, loud motorcycles, jeepneys, trucks, and the like. There is a bit of what do you call this, tire droning coming from the tires, but still very, very minimal. It's still a very, very comfortable drive. I do wish they used laminated glass. I don't think this is laminated glass. It is UV glass, but it's not as quiet as I would have wanted. But still, overall, very, very nice. That's what you expect out of a Lexus. The exterior look, of course, as I mentioned, it's not going to be for everyone. The way they tweaked certain things here is not as sharp as the one before. I do prefer the look that they had before. It was really sharp, really wedged shaped, you know, really, really sporty. Now this one, yes, it is, but you know, a bit toned down. The interior, the upgrades here are also quite nice. I mean, the door car is very nice. The trim they have here for the leather is nice. The dashboard with the switching, the analog clock here, the way they did this screen with the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay. You can also control this. I mean, it is a touchscreen, but you can also control it via the trackpad here for you know, with your forefinger or something, with your index finger. So when you can control the cursor there. Honestly, this is useful sometimes, but not enough, I think, to justify its existence still in this vehicle. I think they could have done away with that already. Here in the middle, they did update the controls here. It's got piano black. Not a fan of piano black because, you know, look here. I can leave my my fingerprint right there, no problem. It's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna want to wipe it later. But one thing they didn't remove here, which is kind of weird, CD player. I mean, when's the last time you used a CD? Yes, there are a few things that I think they can improve on with this vehicle. But one thing they really get right is the feel when you're behind the wheel. So right now, the seat feels great. I have it adjusted to me. I've got a nice cushioning here. I can adjust the lumbar support and all that. Headrest feels good. The steering wheel, it's electrically adjustable up, down, and forward and back depending on your position. So you can easily find a position, a setting for you. It's got these paddle shifters here. It's not metal or aluminum, but still feel quite all right. One thing I really want changed out is this stock for the cruise control. This is like more than 20 years old now, probably. We've been seeing this in the old RAV4s in 2005, I think. So yeah, that's something that could have been swapped out. But the screen in front, that one I really like. It's similar to the one in the LFA before. It's something like that we find really, really cool. It's a full digital screen with a round bezel that can move right and to the middle. Let me show you if I can through the camera. When you push this button, it moves to the right. It gives you more of a display on the left. When you push it again, it goes to the center when you're actually driving and don't need to change any settings. And speaking of the screen here, when you go through the different modes, so be it like right now we're in, let's say, eco, it changes. In normal, it's also got the normal display, but in sport mode, it goes white and red. In Sport Plus, it goes even more white and red, making the numbers on the tachometer, digital tachometer, really pop out. And the needle there, of course, is also digital. It's a simulated needle. It's not a real one. But I think they did that for the LFA because the actual needle, a physical needle, could not keep up with the changes in the RPM. So earlier in the city, I was trying to get a feel for the fuel economy of this, just driving normally, and my average speed earlier was around 16 kilometers per hour. I was doing around 5.8 kilometers per liter, which isn't bad, but not exactly great, because there are a lot of cars now with smaller turbo engines that are going to beat this when it comes to fuel economy in its class. But out here on the highway, it's perfectly fine. We're consuming 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers. We're averaging around 85 kilometers per hour. We'll have the computation here for the equivalent when it comes to kilometers per liter, but certainly a lot better than what it was in the city. And this is what these bigger engines are good for when you're cruising, because you can maintain a lower RPM. You're just chill. Like right now, we're maybe at around 1450 RPM, cruising at 88 kilometers per hour, and it's really just great. Now, if you want to explore the performance of the vehicle, this can do 0 to 100 in 6 seconds. Not really, really quick, but still pretty good. And then when you oh, that's nice. It's nice and smooth acceleration. It's not like the acceleration you would get, or linear acceleration rather. It's not the kind of acceleration you would get out of a turbo engine, because a turbo engine, you get that power once the boost kicks in. And the problem with the boost is that it feels it disturbs your control, particularly in mid corner when you're going around the mountains or on a racetrack. Here, it doesn't really matter so much, like the turbo, like that kind of performance, that kind of feel. But for overall, I still like this kind of linear feel of a V6 and the sound of a V6. That's something that you just don't get in an inline engine. That's just one of the things we really miss about these kinds of engines. Now, granted, when you do that a lot, you're gonna really, consume a lot of fuel. So my numbers are just gonna drop down very, very, very quickly. But it's just so much fun to do. And that brings up the question, who is the Lexus IS350 And I think I have the answer. It's for someone like me. Not that I can afford one of these, but more of someone who's a bit bored already with crossovers, and sometimes like a bit overwhelmed already with all the EVs, hybrids, and all that coming into the market. Sometimes you just want something that cleanses your palate, that brings back driving, the joy of driving to you. I know joy of driving is a BMW thing, but this one also has that in a different way. A BMW, they tune it for like Nürburgring to feel great around the bends. This one, they do that too, but they also prioritize the cruising aspect, the relaxed driving aspect. So when you're cruising on the expressway, or when you're driving it around the city, even on bumpy streets, it feels great. When you take it around the bends, you put it into the sport mode. It doesn't have the adaptive suspension, I think. but it can hold its own as a rear-wheel drive vehicle with a punchy 315 PS, 3.5-liter V6 through an 8-speed automatic with the rear-wheel drive and an LSD. If you want to go drifting, you probably can, but why would you? This is one of those cars where it gives you something that's really luxurious or premium, but it also gives you the handling and the feel of something sportier without sacrificing too much of each. That is the compromise Lexus goes for, and I think it's a compromise that kind of suits what I want in a car. While I don't necessarily agree with some of the design changes they made to the vehicle in the last facelift, I can't help but respect what Lexus is still doing with the IS350 F Sport. They've preserved the large 3.5-liter V6, the rear-wheel drive platform, the 8-speed automatic, and it just feels great to drive, especially at the higher RPM ranges. No, it's not gonna be the BMW 3 Series when it comes to the overall handling, but yeah, the engine of this one feels really great compared to a lot of the new smaller turbo engines and even the hybrids. And if you do want a hybrid, they do offer it for the IS platform, just not as an IS350. This, I think, is still the best, the exemplar of the IS range. But what I really want Lexus to do is bring back the ISF, no sport. As for the price, this one retails for just over 4.2 million pesos. And when you compare it to some of its peers in the German sports sedan category, I think this is still going to be a pretty good deal. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Where can I take the IS today? May gas card pa tayo?